And good afternoon. Welcome to Kelowna Now Live. It's Jason Mann with Jim Check on YouTube and X, and your day's stories. The team's been busy working on these stories for you. First up, the city and University of British Columbia have said that they are investigating reports of damages to property surrounding the future downtown UBCO campus tower.
Yeah, that's that one that we talked about this story a while back, where the Okanagan Collab space, they had to abandon their space on St. Paul Street. Indefinite closure after neighboring construction project impacted the structural integrity of their building. And according to cities, preventing further impacts is a primary objective for all involved, and measures are being taken to prevent structural damage. The city has multiple city departments and private consultants monitoring how they're building city infrastructure and underground utilities surrounding the site. In December, the Kelowna Legion said they would be closing their building and all activities would be suspended due to the impacts, and no update provided by the Legion yet. And then School District 23 announced disruption at their online learning center on Doyle Avenue. So all the buildings kind of in that immediate area seem to be having some issues with that. I mean, it's a big building going in there.
And that's a displaced water table as they basically dig down for the parkade, which is at 2 levels now, and they needed to go to 4 levels. So that's kind of where it's stalled at. All right, next one up. Developer is eyeing a property just off Kale Road for an apartment and townhouse project.
Yeah, that's near the Immaculata Regional High School. 6 buildings, including 1 4-story apartment building and 5 3-story townhomes, are being proposed. The apartment building would have 11 one-bedroom units, 25 one-bedroom units with a den, and 8 two-bedroom homes. The townhouses would also have 30 units, which would be made up of 3 bedrooms on the upper floors and a guest room floor on the ground floor. And it have an internal road built off St. Amand Road, used by the tenants of the townhouses, right? So there'll be some underground parking. And again, if you go to KelownaNow.com, you can read more on this story and take a look at all the pretty pictures.
Now, it's hard to imagine it's taken to 2023 to do this, but BC's new Intimate Images Protection Act has now come into effect.
And why does it always have to take a tragic incident to have this happen? That poor
incidents, there's been so many in this.
But that recent one in Prince George, right? Yeah. So the act is meant to provide new support for people who've had their images distributed, including getting them off the internet, stopping the spread, and seeking monetary compensation from the perpetrators. In partnership with the Civil Resolution Tribunal, the province is launching 2 new services to help people quickly assess self-help tools to identify legal steps they can take, as well as getting information about their rights. Under the new legislation, the tribunal can now order a person, and more so a social media company or website, to stop distribution or remove intimate images from its platform. Like, I don't know how do they get a hold of anybody, the social media company? I've never found a number. The release says existing criminals and civil options have been limited, complex, and expensive, and nobody at social media answers the phone, or there is no phone to call. Not that I've found anyway. So, in provincial court, perpetrators can be ordered to pay significant damages between $5,000 and $35,000, and Supreme Court can award damages of more than $35,000. I mean, that would take a long time to get that, I would think. And this new legislation comes after Premier David Eby said the government was planning to changes to honor the memory of Carson Cleveland, the 12-year-old boy from Prince George, who took his own life in October 2023 after he was sexually victimized online.
And as a provincial by-election approaches in a long-held progressive conservative riding in Newfoundland, there's something conspicuously hard to find on the Liberal candidate's campaign signs, that being the name of his party.
Yeah, and even though it's not the federal party, I think they believe that, the two are kind of like intertwined. But we've seen some distance put with a federal MP out there too. He made some remarks and then, of course, backtracked them after he probably got a scolding. But you can see from the sign there for old Fred Hutton, he doesn't seem to want to display too much of what his party can be linked to, right? So nobody wants to sit in the same room.
Essentially. And how about this? A BC man charged 17 years after a woman's murder. Manitoba RCMP have arrested a man in the killing of this lady 17 years ago. His name, Kevin Kuo, 42-year-old from Vancouver.
Charged with second-degree murder in the death of Crystal Shannon Sanders. Sanders was 24 when she was last seen in Winnipeg in 2007. The Métis woman's body was later found 80 kilometers to the northwest near St. Ambrose. Unknown DNA was found on her remains, and the crime has been unsolved for years. Advances in technology help pinpoint a suspect. They found that, or they released that on Monday. He is originally from Winnipeg and went to school in Manitoba capital, but has also spent time in Ontario and across Western Canada, and was arrested without incident in Vancouver on the weekend.
And a lawyer for a group of Apple iPhone users whose devices allegedly slowed down after software updates say consumers would receive between $17.50 and $150 under a settlement agreement negotiated in a Canadian class action lawsuit.
So he asked the BC Supreme Court to approve iPhone class action lawsuit. $17.50. What's that saying? Wait by the phone.
I was going to say.
Wait by the phone. There you go. They're saying Apple deliberately slowed down the phones to make you upgrade. Apple's not admitting any wrongdoing. So there you go.
And BCRCMP warn of a slight.
Sleight of hand scam.
A sleight of hand scam involving Facebook Marketplace. We hear about Facebook.
If you want to find some scams, go to Facebook Marketplace or any classified ads where people are trying to scam you all the time. So, in this one, they began investigating 2 instances of high dollar items being stolen when a Facebook Marketplace sale was made. They say that when the two parties meet, the buyer will offer cash, count it up, let you have a look at it, and then put it back in an envelope, and then do the old switcheroo. So there you got the envelope, which is full of paper. And then they leave.
Ooh.
And you got paper. They got your stuff.
They didn't even bother putting Monopoly money in, just paper.
You got paper. So always best to have it in your hand. There's always little tricks and little things that people try. I had one, I had something on there and they were just trying to tell me that they were going to give me a company check because the company was buying it for them. Because they didn't have the money themselves. So I had to take the company check. And then, and I said, why don't you just take the company check and you just bring money. And they're just like, no, it's this because of this and the other thing and this. I'm just like, no, no thanks. And best to do those transactions in a public place, or like in Vancouver, they have a place where you can go right in front of the RCMP and do it. I would advise not to have anybody come to your home.
Yeah.
In any circumstances.
Yeah.
Right? Do it at your place of work. Do it in like a restaurant. Do it somewhere. But having people come to your home is not good, not safe for you or your family.
And I think there might be something about concert tickets that are particularly treacherous to sell on Facebook Marketplace, or maybe even not allowed.
You just have to be careful, right?
Yeah. The yearly tradition is back as basketball fever takes over Kelowna Secondary School for 3 days of action beginning on Thursday.
They take their basketball seriously at KSS. It's I've been there a couple times. Nick's been there a couple times doing that. I mean, that is
team spirit.
So that tradition is back as basketball fever takes over KSS for 3 days beginning on Thursday. Taking place is the 49th Western Canadian Basketball Tournament, presented by Restoration by Trades. So they got a sponsor. Competing in this year events are you go ahead. Let's hear you do it.
Which part?
Right there. Who's coming? The Thunderbirds.
Competing in this year's events are I see what you're yes, the Thunderbirds, the St. George Saints, the Oak Bay Bays, the St. Francis Xavier Rams.
Out of Edmonton.
And the Raymond Comets from Raymond, Alberta. And I used to live in Raymond, Alberta, actually.
There you go. What's the population in Raymond, Alberta?
It was about 1,000 at that time.
Oh, wow.
Holy Trinity Northern Knights, Fort McMurray, and the St. Paul's Crusaders
out of Winnipeg. Now, that's a ways to come, right?
And the KSSLs. It's a multi-provincial Western tournament.
So I think the first match goes 7:30 on Thursday. And if you're into basketball and into like high school spirit,
It'll be loud.
Yeah, I go there. So the Northern Knights are the only AAA team at the event, and they are ranked 5th in the league in Alberta. KSS will rely heavily on the experience as they will look to last year's leading KSS scorer, Nash Semenchuk. I don't know. Tickets available at the door, but get to the games early because it's going to be busy. Right?
Yeah.
More information on the tournament found online, kelowranow.com.
All right, and after a week of competing at the Archie Browning Sports Centre on Vancouver Island, BC's representatives at the country's 2 largest curling events have been decided.
Yeah, Team Grandy of Vancouver will be representing after defeating Team Brown of Kamloops. Look at that, eh? And representing BC at the Montana Brier will be Team Schneider of the Victoria Curling Club after defeating Team Montgomery of the same club. People love curling too.
They do. It's as Canadian as back bacon.
I was a curling rink rat when I was in grade 7.
Learning how to pebble the
ice, yep. Yeah. Sweep, pebble. It was more of a chainsaw tournament back then because you'd win chainsaws and stuff like that.
and the meat draw.
Yeah, the meat draw. There you go. It went till like 4 a.m.
Yeah. West Kelowna's premier hockey rink is set to undergo a few improvements this summer when the arena closes for its annual maintenance.
Yeah, they're going to get a big center-hung digital score clock, replacing the nearly 200-year-old, 200, did I say that? 20-year-old
You did.
Clock.
Just add a 0.
What's that? Just add the 0.
Yeah.
It'll take place between May 27th and July 21st, adding about 2 weeks to the arena's annual closure. That'll cost them about $20,000 in lost rental revenue. But that score clock breaks down to $400,000 for the score clock, $125,000 for the media gondola expansion, and $50,000 for design and contingency, and $25,000 for electrical. There you go. I think for $500,000, I would have stood up there and shouted out scores.
Every day.
We just.
We've got some traffic to let you know about. First off, actually, I understand that there's been some slowdowns on the way into Kelowna from West Kelowna, backing up as far as west as Ross Road.
I would say we'd look out the window, but there's a fog bank setting, or like a fog sitting right on top of the, almost seems to be following the highway there.
It does. And a section of Highway 1 is closed due to flooding.
The highway's closed in both directions between Spencer's Bridge and Lytton. The closure between Junction 12 and Highway 8 stretches for more than 30 km. The assessment of the flooding is in progress. However, Drive BC does not expect another route update till 6 p.m. on later today. A detour is in effect via Highway 5, and only local traffic is being allowed through the area. So again, Drive BC, your friend. Check it all the time when you're going to make some travel. So that's it for today, unless you want to just give a little recap on the weather. Yeah,
the weather is just going to be mild. We do expect more rain showers on the way, basically all week off and on. We might get a bit of a reprise tomorrow with some sunshine, but it'll be short-lived and showers imminently on the way tomorrow. And then through the weekend, by the time we get to like Sunday, maybe some snow flurries as well. Or
it's looking awfully blue out there, right? With a little bit of like gray and the like a little mystical. Like
it is. It's very moody, dramatic kind of look out there.
Ogopogo's out there somewhere. I guess we'll see you at 9 a.m. Oh, we did do a live stream with the CEO of Flair Airlines talking about cheap flights and what you can expect for Canadian travel.
And talked also with Mark Burley from the Downtown Kelowna Association about the property assessments.
Talk tax.
Yeah, Tax talk
with Mark. There you go. There you go. So you got something to do tonight. Watch both of those. I'm going to campaign for the Flair one. You're going to campaign for the Downtown Kelowna one. And there you go. Good stuff in the Flair one.
Yeah. And if you're a property owner or you're a renter even downtown, it'll be worth your while to learn a little bit more what's happening there.
And we'll see you in the morning at 9 a.m. and we'll have all the news that matters, or the stuff that matters, as we like to say. Again, in the meantime, connect with Kelowna Now by follling us on YouTube. Smash that like button. Is that what they
like and
ring
subscribe.
That notification bell? Yeah, I've been watching some YouTube videos. You got to say that. Smash the like button, ring the notification bell, and on X, get an X account if you don't have one. best social platform out there now.
At least you'll see what's going on.
And at least we're not banned on it yet. Anyway, we'll see you at 9 a.m.
All right.